Welcome back to CEEN Caribbean News. The presidential and legislative runoff that was scheduled to be held in Haiti on Sunday has been postponed. The decision comes after accusations of voting irregularity and eruptions of violence in the French-speaking Caribbean nation. In expressing his concern, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon is appealing to all political stakeholders to refrain from violence and complete the electoral process peacefully without further delay. Tensions have been simmering in Haiti since the first round of the elections in October, and Jovenel Moïse from the governing party and former government executive Jude Celestin, the two top vote getters then, were set to face each other in the runoff originally set for December 27. According to reports, the second round was again postponed on Friday amid violent protests and the opposition's refusal to participate. The transfer of power to a new Haitian president is constitutionally mandated to take place on February 7. In other news, former Trinidad and Tobago politician Jack Warner has scored another victory in the courts. Last Friday, Warner's legal team was given permission to contest the legality of the extradition request made by the U.S. His legal team is challenging the extradition on 3 grounds: the Local Extradition Act and the extradition treaty between the Twin Islands and the U.S. do not conform. Warner's attorneys were not present while he was meeting with the Attorney General, and there is also a claim of bias. High Court Judge James Aboud granted a stay on the extradition request based on the first 2 claims. The case has been adjourned until February 26th. Warner, a former vice president in football's governing body FIFA, has been accused of multiple counts of fraud and corruption. The U.S. is seeking his extradition. In news from Guyana, heart patients who require surgery but are not able to afford it are now being afforded the opportunity to have the surgery done free of cost. This thanks to an engagement by the Ministry of Public Health. More on this report from the Guyana Information Agency.
Free heart surgeries will be available to all Guyanese thanks to the cardiac cath lab laboratory being operational. These surgeries will take place at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation.
Caribbean Heart Institute probably is now just playing an advisory or a supervisory role in this whole arrangement. But what is important to note is that if you come to the Georgetown Public Hospital Accident and Emergency Department with a cardiac problem that needs surgery, you can be taken from that Accident and Emergency Department directly to that cath lab and have your surgery done free of cost.
While the cath lab is ready to facilitate patients, there are other infrastructural works ongoing. These include an intensive care unit, post-operative rooms, and a new theatre.
What I'm impressed about was that technical aspect of putting in the console and having that hybrid cath lab laid in there with their condition, that part is done, and that's the big part. All we're doing now is carpentry. All we're doing now is putting up the walls and so on. So I can see this happening very shortly.
The cath lab will also be accessible to foreign doctors who conduct cardiac surgeries.
In news from Trinidad and Tobago, last Friday, the House debated the impact that the value-added tax VAT will have on the school's books and laptop programs. However, one government member took offense to claims that education is not being given priority. CNC 3's Goldalee Bruce reports.
Madam Speaker, may I indicate that after a very cordial conversation with my opposite number, yes, I am a very decent woman. We made that agreement.
An honourable agreement is how members describe their decision. It allowed the House to debate private motions brought by members of the opposition, including Friday's debate on the provision of reading materials to students.
If we are talking about VAT on books, we are really attacking the functional literacy.
The motion focused on many criticisms of the government, including the reduction of expenditure on the textbook rental program and what MP Karim called the government's silence on the future of the laptop program. But in response, MP for St. Joseph and Acting Education Minister Terence Dayal Singh says the laptop program for secondary schools was not well designed in the first place.
Where was the data and the empirical evidence to show what the laptop could have done and what the laptop initiative did? Absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
The laptop initiative was never integrated into the syllabus.
And so they
never.
In fact, he says, if any government has invested in education, it's been the PNM.
The People's National Movement has done a poor job. Has done a poor job when it comes to telling this country what it has done for education.
That's right.
We have done a poor job when it comes to telling the country what we have done for education.
Today's agreement between both sides of the House allowed members to debate the private motion until 6 p.m.
Still to come in business, Antigua and Barbuda abolishes personal income tax.